valuable was that bye week just for you to sort of get a sense of where the defense is?
Yeah, that's it was super valuable. I think just in a lot of ways, physically for our guys just recovering, and then for us to kind of collectively as a staff, every year that's a great opportunity to sit back and look at what you've been doing well, what you haven't been doing well, where you got to improve, and then where you can grow, like where you can add on from stuff that you're already doing. So it was super valuable for us. I thought our coaches did a great job just coming back with the reports, and as a staff, for us to sit down and look at every little nuance of our system and where we can improve, it was useful.
Did you find anything in the self-scout?
Yeah, I mean, you always do, without giving away a competitive advantage, but you definitely do. You look at where you got to improve. I always kind of lean toward that more than anything. Where do we have to improve? How can we improve there? And I said a few times in here, like, because it's a long season in this league, you really start to learn. Right about this time, I would say, as you start to roll in through November, what your team really does do well, and this is really when real football starts.
With Bowers coming back from injury, you look at his tape from earlier, how impressive is he?
Yeah, what we did with him also is we really did a deep dive even last year, just watching him. He's an elite level player. He's really, really explosive, obviously, for a guy at that position, but I think his acceleration after the catch is really impressive. So just top to bottom as a player, as a tight end, he really gives them a lot of, honestly, he's got a lot of skills that some guys at that position don't have. I think he's an elite level player.
How much have you missed Trayvon Walker being full in your defense, and how long until you suppose you have him back?
Yeah, he's gutted it out through, Trey had a surgery there and played, I think, about as fast as you can get back from a surgery. He's a total team guy who's trying to contribute as best he can. But I thought he had a really good week this week. It looks a little bit different to me, just kind of flying around and getting closer back to his normal self. So he had a really good practice yesterday, which you're excited about. So like I said, appreciate everything he's done. He's given us great effort for all the reps that he's in there, but he's bounced back pretty quick.
Has the rotation in the secondary been a challenge? I mean, Eric Murray banged up, Greg Newsom's new, Buster Brown just got healthy. You have Travis Hunter rotating between offense and defense. Yeah, anytime you have injuries, obviously, in this league, it's going to happen. That's always a challenge, but the guys have done a great job with the rotation, and then obviously Greg coming in 2 games ago, and he's done a good job stepping in, starting to learn the system, and more, I think he's becoming more and more comfortable, with the more opportunities he has out there in practice. And then, like you said, with Buster being out throughout pretty much the entire camp, and then coming back, I want to say, look, week 3, really getting back rolling again. He's done a great job too, but it's a great atmosphere in that room. Those guys have a great collective spirit about pushing each other and, next man up. So it's been a lot of fun working with those guys. Does sometimes that, I guess, to make it that trust on the field take a little bit more time since different pieces kind of sliding in?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think just getting used to playing with each other and communicating together, you know what I mean? I think Eric is a really good communicator, and I think Antonio Johnson's done a really good job stepping in when he had to come in for Eric. Last week, I thought he did a really good job. If you watch him in the game against the Rams, he had a pretty good game for us, and he's done a good job stepping in.
What stands out about Genty and just the fact that they're willing to put so much of their offense on him as a rookie?
Yeah, he's a tough kid. I mean, he runs the ball hard as hell. And you watch him he brings it, running through contact. He runs with great pad level, and I think he has really good contact balance. That's the one thing that jumps out to me. It's really got to be a team tackling mentality. You got to clamp the guy because you see guys sliding off, and you can't just go throw in there and cut tackle, and that ain't going to work against this guy. And he's had a lot of runs where you look at him this year, and obviously through college, it's impressive. So I'm not shocked that they put a load on him, ask him to carry the load because he's a tough physical kid.
What's clicked on third down the last 2 games to force 3 out of 22?
I think anything, a lot like you were asking about, your self-scout and all that. And as the season goes on, you're constantly looking at those things and what are we good at? Where can we take advantage of it? I talked about, I think the week before, maybe when we played Kansas City, we had a lot of 3rd and 2 situations in that game. There was maybe 5 of them, I think, 3rd and 2s. And to be in really more 3rd and defensively manageable situations is critical. So winning first down, winning to get back on track situations, getting yourself to an advantageous position on third down, and competing. I know we may not have had a ton of production in terms of sacks in the rush, but guys have gotten a bunch of hits on the quarterback, and I think that's changed some of the trajectory of some of the throws on third down as well. So really just rush and coverage working together.
What has been the challenge with the sacks, or and is that a concern?
I wouldn't say it's a concern. It's something you're always working at, and part of what we were looking at during the break, you know, how we can get better there, how we can generate more pressure. I think people have said, like, we've had a bunch of pressures. Yeah, that's great, but at the end of the day, I agree. You want to get production, you want to get sacks, you want to get guys on the ground, and that's really just working at it. I think our guys are doing a really good job of being aware of where we can get better with that, you know, where we can finish getting the guy in the grasp and finally, you know, getting them down on the ground. So that's certainly a point of emphasis for us, and something we're working our ass off on.
How has Ventrell Miller filling in for Devin Lloyd?
He's been doing a good job, man. He's a physical dude. I know I've said that about him before, but he gives you a presence in there, in the interior, you know, in terms, especially in the early down run game. I think he's done a good job, and I thought he did a pretty good job overall in the pass game and the early down stuff. The other day, he made some open field tackles that his break drive technique was pretty damn good. The quarterback was taking his front hand off the ball and all that stuff. So he showed up in a bunch of ways for us, and I think he's continuing to progress for us. So I think he's done a good job.